Hello, Michelle.
Welcome.
Delighted to be having it's about the fifth or sixth chat with you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good.
Actually, I'm not very well. My counter has had it in for everything that sound. My counter can't. My counter worktop in the back kitchen can't spell, and it's had it in for everything that sounds like it begins with the letter F this week.
What?
So far, it has demolished my fryer, my phone, and my face. So
What? Still?
oh, yeah, first of all, I elbow. I turned around and my
Yeah.
phone was on the side. So that went off with my elbow.
Yeah.
Then I slipped on water
Oh.
and face planted, and it's all on my chin there.
Oh.
This time last week, my face was out here,
Nice.
and then the like I've got one of those air fryer things with
Oh
the
yeah.
little
Yeah. Yeah.
bit. I pulled the basket out with the chips on.
Yeah.
I put it on the sides. I didn't even put it anywhere near the edge. Next minute, it's on the floor. I'm like, wait a minute, the counter's got it in front of me here.
Oh Christ. Oh dear. Oh, apart from that though, you're all right.
Apart from that, I'm okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
apart from the weather.
Yeah. It's miserable. It doesn't look like July. What's with the image behind you? Is this a particular book?
Okay, so let me tell you. This is from Stephen King's
Oh.
The Dark Tower.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, it's a bit weird. Blending in with the background.
Yeah. So Stephen King, and that actually is a first publication. It's the first edition,
Oh.
but don't get excited.
Yeah.
There's millions of them.
Yeah.
It's only worth about £3.50,
Yeah.
which is what I paid for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's cut. The book comes with some very beautiful. I don't know whether this is going to show because that's the background
Oh
image
yeah.
that you can
Yeah, that's
see.
clear. Yeah.
So it's rare of Stephen King's books to come with
Yeah, I've never
illustrations,
seen one. Yeah.
and of course, so this is one going to be one for me to keep. So this is The Dark Tower, and it's
Yeah.
all about a gunslinger
Yeah.
who he's after somebody who's posing as a priest, posing as an angel, but he's actually really evil, and he's been chasing this being for a long time, and toward the end, the being throws things into the gunslinger's path.
Yeah.
That basically the gunslinger is going to find it really hard to overcome to kill his goal. So, and that's all I'm going to say. It's Stephen King. It's a short story. It's not
Yeah.
novelette.
Yeah.
It's not very big. Short story, well worth read. 224 pages if you like Stephen King.
Okay.
It's got everything in it.
Have you seen the film version?
No, but
Unless
I will
I'm
be.
thinking of somebody else. I'm sure Idris Elba's in it, if I pronounce his name correctly.
Oh, it's his Elba.
That's him. That's the one, yeah. Yeah. I think. Unless I've got that totally wrong.
Oh, if it is, I'll be watching that. Yum yums. It was in April. I went to the London Book Fair, and let me tell you, I'll be going again next year. Oh, it was amazing. I got to learn how the publishing industry works from the inside out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's so many stalls there, so much information, so many great people as well to speak to. I didn't know beforehand that I needed to book interviews with agents and publishers, etc. But there were lots of small publishers who were quite happy to talk to me, and just learn about the publishing industry, really. Of course, we are now under the threat of AI.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And of course, that's going to make getting a book published probably practically impossible going forward. But at the minute, I've been talking to some agents, and they are all like, no, it's still business as usual. We're still taking on human writers, still business as usual. So don't let that put you off.
Well, this current writer's strike, that's one of the main issues. In theory, they could do away with every film actor, every screenwriter, every novelist. AI can create the character. They can create a 20-year-old Robert De Niro, and
Yeah.
imitate his voice with deep fake. So there's no
Yeah.
need for them. So it is a huge danger and a threat hanging over any creator.
Oh yeah, and it's over all of us. I mean, rightly or wrongly, I've been using AI to do my book covers.
The images, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, because I can't afford to pay an artist, but and I know of several artists who I could afford.
Yeah.
And when I've said to them, oh, we look at doing this, we look at doing that, they always seem to be too busy. So, where do we go from there?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get ones who you approach them for commissioning, and then you find out that they're using AI as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's been in use for many years, hasn't it? The Lord of the Rings films, for instance, computer generated images.
Exactly. CGI has been around since the early 1980s.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's just so blinking accessible now.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And some of the imagery, I mean, from when I did the book cover for Two Houses, and I prefer book cover for Two Houses. I prefer the kind of imagery that I've got going on behind me.
Yeah.
And that's a proper illustrator. And and let me tell you, if I could afford a proper illustrator, I would go for the proper illustrator, because there is nothing AI can come up with that will ever beat a human hand. And it's like, if you listen to or read any of the stories that AI is coming up with, it's not the same. It doesn't have the same tension. It doesn't have the same. I mean, my daughter did it. She wrote something in ChatGPT, and it was basically, once upon a time, this was a story, and that's the end. Because it doesn't grasp human emotion.
Yeah.
So it has a different, from what I've seen, from what I've read that's come out of these AI packages.
Yeah.
It doesn't grasp human emotion. It doesn't grasp tension. It falls flat in a couple of ways, but it's going to get better. And
course,
and we have all got to get used to the idea that it's probably going to put us all out of work. Not that I earn anything from what I do, but it's going to put me out of work. And what can we do? I'm a bit annoyed that I've spent the last 7 years studying to get absolutely everything right, and then just as soon as I'm on the top of my game, AI has come along and snatched it away from me. And I just think, what's the point? What is the point of the last 7 years? There seems now but I'm not going to give up. I think my stories deserve an airing, and they're going to get an airing.
Well, do you know what? I wouldn't fancy doing one of these chats for this likes of my podcast with an AI entity. Imagine that. We're getting to know the face behind the name on a book by having these type of chats.
Have you seen these robots? They're like the AI robots.
No.
They are. Oh my God. There's one that answers questions, but you can see that again. There's no humanity behind it.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for people, especially of our generation, that's just going to fall flat. And unfortunately, most of the readers on the face of this planet are people of our generation. Most of those who watch films are the younger generation. Readers are our generation. Our generation don't want to read a book that's flat. We've been too used to reading good quality work. Why would we sell ourselves short now?
True.
So pros and cons to AI, whether it'll take over. The writer's strike is kind of like, can't you shoot yourself in the foot there? Because all we're going to do is go ahead and use the AI anyway. And so the couple of months, and they will speed it up now, and the couple of months that you could have had work for, and they might not have touched the AI if you'd carried on working. And while I am 100% behind them, and I think, what, they're right, they've got every right to strike when they're being undermined and their jobs are at risk, I do worry that maybe they've sped the process up a little bit.
Yeah, there's a chance of that. Yeah. Let's get back to what you've been reading.
Yeah. So what have I been reading this month? I think I've got to tell you all about Paul Lafferty and
Okay.
down the lane books.
Yeah.
So it's one thing reading an author's interpretation of how biker gangs work and what it's like to work in the sex industry.
Yeah.
But it is something else to read an autobiographical novel by somebody who's actually lived the life, as he was a bouncer and a DJ in sex clubs in Niagara Falls, Canada side.
Okay.
And it was the story of his life when he got onto the wrong side of the biker gangs.
Yeah.
So, lots of tension that AI doesn't seem to be able to get or grasp. And it fills, the whole, I think it's what, 300 odd pages, might be different. I read it on Kindle, so I didn't have the pages at the location.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I was there with him right the way through. Yeah. But he has left me with some questions. Yeah. It's like, why was Phil's nickname Viking? What was that all about? And so these are things that Doc is going to have to answer for me. And did you marry Queen Bee? I need to know. Inquiring minds need to know. Did you marry Queen Bee? Absolutely brilliant. I totally loved it. It's another one that I'm raving about.
Okay. Is it a one-off or is it part 2 coming soon, do you think?
I think this is just a one-off.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the end of his time working in the strip joints in Niagara Falls. Yeah. It's autobiographical, but it doesn't use his name, so it's like he's telling it in the first person. Yeah. But the character's name is Ian. And it's just, you can read how an author thinks these people behave, but then you read somebody who has been on the receiving end of it. It's totally different. It really is. He got on the wrong side of some bikie gangs.
Scary, that.
Oh, it was. And you're right there with him as he's going like, so yeah, absolutely fantastic. But another thing, one of the things that really struck me was the difference were how close knit him and his friends were, and how his friends stood by him and had his back and were like, it's time you got out of this life. You are not going to survive. You're not born to this. You are not this. You need to go. And they had, his close friends had his back, and he got out of there alive, which is absolutely amazing. Which, well, I want to know whether he married Queen Bee. But it was just amazing, and you could just see, like, some of the things that these criminals, and obviously in the UK our biker gangs are totally different kettle of fish. I spend quite a bit of time down at the Patriots, and our bikers are lovely. They're always doing something with charity, and they're for people who need it. And so our biker gangs are not criminals. Our biker gangs are supporting half my girls from the Coven. But things are different over there. Reading Paul's work, it is organized crime on the level of the mafia. I mean, these biker gangs have gone into some towns and kicked the mafia out. So it's just got to be read, because how often do you get, and you've got that Paul on the show, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, how often are you going to get to speak to somebody who has lived that life?
That sounds brilliant.
It's like, it's up there with like, going out and meeting Johnny Depp. Whatever. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
That's just gone on my reading list, Michelle. I love the sound of that. Anything else you've been reading?
Ooh, Yes, I've been reading Sherlock Holmes again.
Oh,
Yeah,
again,
as I said, I think I mentioned in my
you did.
last one that
You did.
I'm back on the I'm reading I was going to say Stephen King. Yes, we all know I'm reading Stephen King,
Yeah.
but I've been reading Sherlock Holmes and a couple of the short stories. So I'm going to just rattle them off like pretty quickly. I think last time we spoke, I mentioned A Scandal in Bohemia because that was the first one I read and I haven't got any far, but I've written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 since then. So the first one is The Red-Headed League. When a man gets paid well for sitting in a room copying the encyclopedia, it stands to reason that he will get the hump when his job abruptly comes to an end. With no word from his strange employer. Of course, there's a crime afoot.
Yeah.
And who better to solve it than Sherlock Holmes? But what crime could possibly need a man to sit in a room for a few hours a day? Basically doing nothing of worth, yet getting paid handsomely. To find out, you'll have to read the book.
I've read that one. That's one of my favourite of his. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Brilliant.
It's a good short read, isn't it? Keeps you, you just read it all immediately in one sitting.
Yeah. It's like, I found it because I'm listening to it with Librivox, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it's called Librivox. I will get you the link for that because it's important, because Librivox, all the Librivox recordings are in the human domain. It's not AI, it's in the human domain. It's in the public domain.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, totally loved it. The next one was The Case of the 5 Orange Pips. And Holmes doesn't come unstuck often. And even though he worked it out very damn quickly, putting into action he struggled with. And you realise when when you're listening to Watson, because of course all these stories are narrated by Dr. Watson, that you see Holmes's frustration through Watson's eyes because he's watching him. And John Openshaw arrives when he receives a letter containing 5 orange pips. Nothing too threatening in that, you might say, but his father and uncle died right after receiving the same thing. The only other clue to the originator of the letter is the letters KKK.
Yeah.
It is one of the times we find Holmes truly frustrated by a case. He knows who's responsible, he knows where they are, but can he catch them? And to find out, you've got to read the book.
Okay, yeah.
So, I love Sherlock. The case of Taken Identity, or The Case of Identity. Actually, this has got 2 titles: Taken Identity and Identity. When Mary Sutherland's fiance disappears on the way to church for their wedding, she turns to Sherlock Holmes to solve the case. If she leaves her household to marry, she will leave her stepfather without her considerable income, and that's very important. Her fiance, Mr. Hosmer Angel, has made her promise never to wed another. There's another clue. What became of her lover? Did he get cold feet? Did something happen to him at the hands of the stepfather? Or is the crime even worse than that? And again, to find out, you'll have to read the book. Give this one an 8 out of 10. I didn't work it out, and I usually do. One more. J.R. Ward, Lover Avenged.
No, I've not heard of it. It's a thick book. How long to read that? 800 pages.
I started this on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, I restarted it on Monday. I am there.
Every night you're reading that? You're reading that every night?
Oh, yeah. Well, what happened was I put my back out on Monday morning. Yeah. I couldn't move Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, dear.
So I love J.R. Ward. She's one of my favourite authors. The Black Dagger Brotherhood series is arguably the best in modern history.
Huh?
And it's, again, something AR would never be able to replicate. They would never be able to make anything this good. Black Dagger Brotherhood series is all about sexy vampires. And this is my favourite vampire. But he's not one of the brothers, though. This is Revenge, and he's a drug lord, Batman all round.
Yeah.
But you know, he falls in love and he sacrifices himself for the good of his family, his friends, and his lover.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why, because this is my second time reading the 25 books I think she's published so far. I've read no, that's a lie. I've read the first 25 already.
Yeah.
And she's published another 3, I think. So I'm rereading them to get to the last 3, so that I know where I'm at in the storyline. I'll literally, when I finish these, I'll just sit back and reread them again because I just love them, and I every time I read them, I find something different. It was like I was shocked this time that Revenge is actually sleeping with his half sister, and I'm like, how did I not realise that the first time round? But he's not got any choice.
Yeah.
You know, he's a sympath, which is not. He's half sympath, half vampire. And yeah, you've really got to read the J.R. Ward series. But I'm going to go on to another author. Right, so somebody you know has got a new book out.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah, you said it.
Can't see it. It's not shown. Hold at a different angle. 2 Houses. I can see that. By wow, yeah. Love it. Brilliant.
M.G. Cobbett.
You showed me the image a few weeks ago, weren't you, saying, you know, which is the best?
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was for this. That's brilliant.
I've developed a town called Beswick Stanton, and it's the home of romance.
Yeah.
Right? So the college is called Verona College. Now, anybody who knows Shakespeare knows that Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So, but it's not actually called Verona College because of Shakespeare. It's called Verona College because it's on the site of the old Italian biscuit, the old Verona Italian biscuit factory.
Okay.
And so this town it's already interactive. So you can go onto the map and you can see where everything is, where the college is situated, where the schools are situated, where the police station is situated. And it's all there's quizzes on there. So once you've read 2 Houses, you can go on there, and there is like a guess who. I know a lot of people don't like to see what the author's representation of the character is.
They fix it their own mind. Yeah,
exactly. You don't have to go on that page. It's that simple.
True.
There's questionnaires on there. You know, how well do you know 2 Houses? And it's so there's a lot going on. I'm going to try and get another series I'm self-publishing the Verona College series.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try and get the crime series published, which is Rig's Dream Team.
Yeah.
But there's lots of crossovers. So the police officers that you meet in 2 Houses, Pretend Girlfriend, and At a Price, you will meet them if I ever get them published, which, you know, well, we'll have to see.
Did you build up contacts when you went to London for that the book fair?
No, it was difficult. It was really difficult. You know, you can't get to meet the agents properly.
Yeah.
Although I did manage to speak to 1 or 2, but not for any length of time, and certainly not about my work. It was just asking general questions.
Yeah, research.
Because you need to book an appointment with them. So,
is your book available now then, so people can order that now on Amazon?
I'm going to give you the link for both my websites. So I've got Cobbett's books where I read and review, but my book now is on the front page there, along with all the other all what I'll be reading next month. That'll all be on there as of this week. But I'll also give you a link to my website, which is michellecobbett.wixsite.com/mgc-author. Obviously, I'm probably going to get my own domain at some point. But at the minute, it's a link. I don't know quite. I'm developing the website.
Yeah, work in progress.
Yeah, and it will continue to be, because on the 20th of August, the next story in the series comes out, which is Pretend Girlfriend. So it's something to do with the Amazon algorithms. If you publish one after the other within 30 days of each other, it flags something up with Amazon as a constant user. So that I don't know how these algorithms work. It was just something. It was
a lot of themselves. It's another AI thing, Michelle.
I know.
They're bots, aren't they? Yeah. They check as well if if I put a review of someone's novel on there, and they put a review of my novel on there, the same, roughly within a week, even though perfectly reasonable that we've read each other's books, complimentary. It's sometimes it won't allow the review to go on. Just as a law to itself.
Oh yeah. One thing I did think was quite good is when I first self-published Gracings with Amazon, it didn't pull up any issues in the book, so but it didn't attempt to either. Whereas now you're going to find it hard to self-publish with Amazon if you can't spell properly.
Okay, it's more stringent then with the spelling.
Yeah,
I got pulled up. It noticed some words that maybe a Scouser would use, or like my owl fella, for instance, the way I spelled my owl fella, my dad.
Yeah.
I said, well, this doesn't look right. Are you sure it's correct? I said, yeah, it's correct. It's correct. But it's more difficult now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it'll improve the standard if nothing else.
But I rung a couple of agents during the week, and I said, what's your stance with AI? Are you still taking on human authors? And they were like, yes, we are. That's our job.
Yeah. They're always looking for a good book.
Yeah.
It's difficult to connect with them.
Yeah. The thing is, will publishers be different?
Yeah.
A publisher's going to be like, well, why should I pay you?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, it's improving all the time.
As I said, what I have, the AI stuff that I have read, and whether this is just because it's ChatGPT and it's amateur, I don't know.
No, what I've seen of it's rubbish.
Yeah, it's got no depth. It's got no humanity. It's got no tense, and it's got no emotion.
Yeah.
What's the point of reading it?
Yeah, I totally agree. On that note,
it is going to get better.
Yeah, scary. Michelle, the time's going to run out in about 1 minute. But listen, it's been great to chat to you as normal. But let's keep in touch as we have been doing.
Absolutely. And next time I'm going to see if I can get another one of these.
Brilliant. All right. I like that. It's a great image behind you. But for now, Michelle, you take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye now. Bye.